We're so glad to be joined today in our second episode of DPNM's monthly newsletter, The Blue Opiñon. In recognition of Pride Month, we'll be hearing from New Mexico's Secretary of State, Maggie Toulouse Oliver, who was instrumental in the legalization of marriage equality here in New Mexico during her time as the Bernalillo County Clerk.
I'm excited to be having this conversation with you. It's frankly one of the most amazing work-related experiences that I have been fortunate enough to go through in my time in public service here in New Mexico. So I love talking about it. Well, I became Bernalillo County Clerk back in 2007. And at that time here in New Mexico, we had an existing Attorney General's opinion that said that, no, marriage equality is not constitutional here in New Mexico. When I first came into office as county clerk, we were not allowed to issue marriage licenses to same-sex couples. I was aware that there was a desire to challenge this constitutional question here in our state. And I said, I believe everyone should have a marriage license. And if I'm the person you need to sue in order to make that happen, then sue me. After that is when the first district court ruling in the second judicial district here in New Mexico, Griego v. Oliver, made it legal, at least in Bernalillo County. And then pretty quickly after that, statewide.
That made New Mexico the 17th state in the United States to legalize marriage equality. And so now gay marriage is legal in every single state and in Washington, D.C. But we still see a lot of opposition to marriage equality.
I think like any right that we have as American people, we need to be constantly vigilant. I feel good about that right to marriage equality staying constant here in our state. If you look at our leadership from top to bottom in the state, we have very supportive judges, we have very supportive legislative and leadership in the governor's office, but we always need to stay vigilant and we can never take it for granted.
We're lucky to be in New Mexico. We're lucky to have such strong, bold, courageous Democratic leadership at every level. What do you think is most important to reflect on?
Pride is one of my favorite times of year. I absolutely love it. Just the being able to publicly revel in exactly who we are, each and every one of us, how we were born, how we choose to live our lives, and how we choose to love, I think is an amazing right and privilege that we all have. Our ability to each and every single one of us as American citizens get out and cast our vote and make sure that we're electing leaders that are going to uphold these rights, to continue to uphold these rights. So let us never forget, as we're celebrating the rights that we do have, that we can never take them for granted. That elections have consequences, and that it is each and every one of our responsibility to make sure we turn out and make our voices heard at the polls. I want to just recommend everybody right now, after you're done watching this video, or maybe pause this video, go on to nmvote.org, double check your voter registration. All you need is your date of birth and your New Mexico issued, and your social security number actually. And if you have a New Mexico driver's license or state ID, you can use our online portal to register, change, update your registration. You can also do that anytime you visit MVD, anytime you're getting a new driver's license or a new state ID. And of course, there's always the paper form.
Fantastic. Madam Secretary, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us today. Thank you for sharing that critical information about how to maintain your voting rights here in the state of New Mexico to continue the Democratic Party of New Mexico's recognition and celebration of Pride Month. Today, we're going to be hearing from State Senator Liz Stefanics, a trailblazer who was the first openly gay state legislator in New Mexico history. The senator was also one half of the first couple to practice the right to marriage equality in Santa Fe County back in 2013.
It was an exciting time. It also was a little bit scary. That's what brought me to run for office. As soon as I won my primary, the Republicans had to go on the attack. At that time, we were living in a small town, and somebody decided to run down my road mailbox and then leave some negative literature in our mailbox. So when I got to the legislature, it was mixed. Many of the legislators who had gay relatives, sons, nephews, brothers, they came out in terms of support, and others were totally vicious in terms of language. It was totally different in the 90s than it was today. And I think that that's one of the things historically we need to recognize is we have come a long way.
I love that you're willing to share this story because it's incredibly important to know the progress we've made. And it's about a lot more than buying a great new Pride t-shirt at Target.
I started talking about the young person who was banned, the transsexual who was banned from being on the floor of where she was elected. She was elected. She's a she now. And I said, thank goodness we went through some of these battles and issues back in the 90s. And while there might still be bad feelings, judgments, etc. today, we are more respectful of people now.
To bring this back to 2013, so my understanding, Senator, is that you and your partner were the very first couple to exercise marriage equality in Santa Fe County.
We had been together many years, Linda and I, and had decided that probably legal marriage was never going to happen in our lifetime. Our county attorney knew that this was very important to me. So the day that the issue was decided at the Supreme Court, our county clerk said to him, I am ready to marry whoever comes forward. We were very happy to do it. And if people want, they can go back to the press for that wedding, that marriage, and they can see us together. And it was just spontaneous joy. We didn't expect that it was going to feel like it did because we had already been together for so many years.
What a marvelous story. Congratulations to you and Linda both. And thank you for being trailblazers for all the rest of us and across the state too.
I have to give credit to all of our new legislators who have really stepped up to the plate to be a part of this history. Now, everyone in our state cannot discriminate in terms of employment, education, housing, etc. Our state agencies that make decisions and about resources and how to give those resources out in terms of healthcare, in terms of social services, now have to pay attention to the fact that it is not just the heterosexual community that is coming forward for abuse or neglect or poverty or childcare. It's everyone in society that needs to be taken care of. Our role is to step up, support anyone who feels shaky about their future, and to help them understand that they will figure it out. And if they have already figured it out, be there for them. And if they are taking baby steps or big steps, to be there for them.
And to continue with DPNM's recognition of Pride Month, Secretary Isaac Casados and myself, Vice Chair Manny Crespín, we are both openly gay men. Our Democratic Party has been and is still at the forefront of fighting for LGBTQI+ rights. These rights are upheld all throughout our state platform, and we maintain a standing LGBTQ caucus that always makes sure that we're at the forefront of advocacy and inclusivity at DPNM.
Well, you know what? That's right, Mr. Vice Chair. It's pretty amazing that out of the 4 executive officers, 2 of us are members of the LGBTQ community. Not only that, but also minority members of that community, which I think have been attacked at such great levels this past year. We see that happening all across the country. And I think it really shows where we are as a party when we really live up to the values of inclusion, specifically here in the state of New Mexico. It's been alarming to see the type of challenges that are happening in state legislatures and even at SCOTUS, which could potentially rule on some key cases. But I think the amazing thing that we see is we see youth that are now rising up. We see members of our regular community that are now rising up and saying that we deserve the rights that every other American deserves. And I think that's an incredible response that warms my heart.
We were fortunate enough on that December 19th day of 2013 to become the 17th state of legal same-sex marriage, and our Supreme Court stood loud and proud in that. We have to continue to build our party and to build our community within the LGBTQI plus community. I think that it's been so inspiring and fulfilling to see individuals from younger generations who are so proud to be out and open in their LGBTQI communities, especially here with their identities.
I think we can turn back to our history books and really look at what had to happen for us to be here, to be out and open about this process. We can go back to the 1980s when drag queens and individuals within bars all across the country were being dragged out and beaten in the streets. And those were really difficult and challenging times because it really showed a pervasive hate, a hatred towards a group of Americans that were just living their lives. But you know what? I still think that happens today, specifically in our small and rural communities, even here in New Mexico, where individuals that are trying to find themselves or find their identity may be afraid to come out.
We have so much more work to do to continue to protect these rights. But I think that we need to remember what's at stake because it's literally everything. And I think if we keep that message fresh on our forefront of our work, I think that we will be able to protect LGBTQI plus rights for the rest of our lifetime and for many lifetimes of our future generations to come. These are moments of history that we need to really take to heart.
Thank you so much, Mr. Vice Chair. I think we have an incredible team that's doing great work. Even as officers, we're limited in the amount of work that we can do, but we also have members within our own staff who represent this community. And I think that is even a testament to who we are as a party, to ensuring that those voices are uplifted as well, and that they have a part of this process. So I'm incredibly excited to see what we're going to be able to accomplish in the next couple of years as we move this needle towards a more equitable and responsive position, which I think is going to be really amazing for all members of our LGBTQ community and in our state.
I also want to send a special shout out to my fellow colleague, Mr. Secretary Dakota Casados, for all of your work and being a partner with us. And we would also like to just thank you all so much for joining us for our special Pride edition for our monthly video newsletter, the Blue Opiñon. Thank you to Secretary of State Maggie Toulouse Oliver and to Senator Liz Stefanics for also joining us to provide your perspectives and stories on LGBTQI plus rights in New Mexico. And just thank you to all New Mexico Democrats. We're really looking forward to continuing this important work, and we're really looking forward to the next edition of the Blue Opiñon. Happy Pride Month. Thank you so much.